Good morning. Welcome to your wonderful, yet another day, which is Terrific Tuesday. So today is also very special and it's very wonderful. Why? Because it's the last new moon of this month, of our journey of 1 to 1 days. So we all know what we have to do in this. So the best time today actually would be, even though the sun rises, the moon will be at its peak at 6:21 in the morning. And the 6:21 is the same time when we are finishing off our session. So I would still request, if possible, do it in the morning. If not, of course, evening is still there, night is still there. So, the next series of your lists will come in of your manifestations, dreams, desires, and you will write them on a yellow paper with a red pen if possible, and energize them, like go out in the balcony or wherever, whatever you have, whether you can see the moon or whether you can't see the moon. If possible, something in the bracket of 6:20 to 6:45, if you can do it, and then just energize and tuck it under the bed. As simple as that. If you're traveling, energize that, keep that paper, tuck it in your suitcases so that you can keep it back when you're back home. Any questions about this? If yes, please feel free to put them in the chat box. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's start our Pixel programming. Yeah, let's go for it. Yes, yes, I'm a winner. Oh, wonderful. Once more, let's do it. Yes, each one a winner for life. How wonderful. Jitindraji, if your dreams, just look at what you last time dreamt. If they have come true, then obviously you will not write those dreams, you'll write new ones. If they haven't come true, please write them again and please surrender them. Very, very simple. I mean, it's just, I'm glad you asked. Okay, yes, Neetu, thank you so much for wanting to read the artist's way. Oh, wonderful. Today we are on the last, absolute last day of this magical book. I don't know how many of us have actually benefited because how many of us have done this, but those who have, I would love to hear from them, whoever they are. That will be wonderful. So today is about week 12. In this final week, we acknowledge the inherently mysterious spiritual heart of creativity. So our heart is very, very creative. Our heart has its own mystery, and it's something which is always there. We address the fact that creativity requires receptivity and profound trust. So let's understand that if we need to create, we need to firstly be open and receptive. Secondly, the most important virtue, we must have trust. So we address the fact that creativity requires receptivity and profound trust. Capacities we have developed through our work in this course, and most likely you would have developed them by now. We set our creative aims and take a special look at last minute sabotage. We renew our commitment to the use of the tools, recovering a sense of faith. So Mickey Hart, Grateful Dead drummer, he's written that, and in that he says, adventures don't begin until you get into the forest. That first step is an act of faith. So it's very important that when we are going to create our life, which is now in this beautiful journey, when this book is concluding and so is our session, let's understand that we must have faith. Faith turns and shakes and moves mountains. Let's go for this. Thank you, Mitu. So you can please make her the co-host.
Creativity requires faith. Faith requires that we relinquish control. This is frightening and we resist it. Our resistance to our creativity is a form of self destruction. We throw up roadblocks on our own path. Why do we do this? In order to maintain an illusion of control. Depression, like anger and anxiety, is resistance and it creates dis-ease. This manifests itself as sluggishness, confusion. I don't know. The truth is, we do know, and we know that we know. Each of us has an inner dream that we can unfold if we will just have the courage to admit what it is and the faith to trust our own admission. The admitting is often very difficult. A clearing affirmation can often open the channel. One excellent one is, I know the things I know. Another is, I trust my own inner guide. Either of these will eventually yield us a sense of our own direction, which we will often then promptly resist.
So the two affirmations which you really want to intertwine, if you do want to, are I know the things I know. So very important, please highlight them if you have a book. Otherwise, just write them. If you start, even if you have a pin-up board where you can write this affirmation down and say, I know the things I know, which means we don't become forgetful and our creativity is absolutely open. Nisha, you keep sending us affirmations and hard thoughts. Please intertwine this as well. I know the things I know. Second one is beautiful. I trust my inner guide. So when we start saying, I trust my inner guide, my higher self, or whatever, that means you are all that whenever you're getting some command, you are trusting the gut feeling and you're working on that act. So very important for us to add these two. Yes, please. Let's turn the page.
This resistance is really very understandable. We are not accustomed to thinking that God's will for us and our own inner dreams can coincide. Instead, we have bought the message of our culture. This world is a vale of tears, and we are meant to be dutiful and then die. The truth is that we are meant to be bountiful and live. The universe will always support affirmative action. Our truest dream for ourselves is always God's will for us. Mickey Hart's hero and mentor, the late great mythologist Joseph Campbell, wrote, "Follow your bliss, and doors will open where there were no doors before." It is the inner commitment to be true to ourselves and follow our dreams that triggers the support of the universe. While we are ambivalent, the universe will seem to us also to be ambivalent and erratic. The flow through our lives will be characterized by spurts of abundance and long spells of drought when our supply dwindles to a mere trickle. If we look back at the times when the world seemed to be a capricious and untrustworthy place, we see that we were ourselves ambivalent and conflicted in our goals and behaviors. Once we trigger an internal yes by affirming our truest goals and desires, the universe mirrors that yes and expands it. There is a path for each of us. We were, when we are on our right path, we have a sure footedness. We know the next right action, although not necessarily what is just around the bend. By trusting, we learn to trust.
By trusting, we learn to trust. Very important for us to say and understand and imbibe. So one more thing which we are getting out of this is if we are ambivalent, which means we have a mixture of thoughts and we are doubtful or there's something which is happening. Should I do this? In a way of procrastination, or in a way you can say when you're contradicting your own thoughts, then the entire universe will have similar guidelines. Why? Because you are mixed, you're not asking for real clarity. And the flow which is happening is not happening the way you want because you've not asked for it. But if you follow your bliss, that's when the doors will open for communication. If you are asking for clarity, that clarity will come through, it will flow through you. So what do you want? Then it'll come for, so then even your life, if you're asking for, if you're confused in your mind and you're not asking, kabhi abundance, kabhi akal, kabhi, acha, kabhi bura, then everything is happening in a very erratic state. So please start asking your higher self, start trusting them, and just say, whatever I'm guided is for my highest goal. And then do it and see and let's see how the universe expands. And then whatever you want, it will happen. So first most quality for today is trust. If we trust, miracles happen. So Miles Davis says for this, do not fear mistakes. They are none. So until we make a mistake, we cannot have the right path. Until we make a mistake, we cannot find, okay, this is where I faltered, this is what I don't have to do. And until we learn from the mistake, we can't progress. Then what will happen? The mistake will keep happening again and again and again. So let's understand that this is what life is. The next part for today is mystery. They say creativity is mystery. Let's talk about it.
Creativity, like human life itself, begins in darkness. We need to acknowledge this. All too often, we think only in terms of light. And then the light bulb went on, and I got it. It is true that insights may come to us as flashes. It is true that some of these flashes may be blinding. It is, however, also true that such bright ideas are preceded by a gestation period that is interior, murky, and completely necessary. We speak often about ideas as brain children. What we do not realize is that brain children, like all babies, should not be dragged from the creative womb prematurely. Ideas like stalactites and stalagmites form in the dark inner cave of consciousness. They form in drips and drops, not by squared off building blocks. We must learn to wait for an idea to hatch. Or, to use a gardening image, we must learn to not pull our ideas up by the roots to see if they are growing.
All about trust. So just the way human life is starting in a mother's womb, which is all dark. And when the child is born, he or she sees the light. So similarly, बोलते हैं दिमाग की बत्ती जल गई, oh your tube light went on, like a tube light, you just go very slow. These are terms used because sometimes we need that, you need the darkness to find the light. So there will be light all the time, and how will you enjoy finding the light? Because there's always light. Sometimes the mystery of the darkness is important. Similarly, we are being compared to, brain children. Now, if there's an idea which is there in me, I have to allow for the idea to germinate. I can't see aaj idea work kal action. It'll gradually grow. Like how do the stalactites grow? They are in the caves and they have that drip and drop. अगर कि drop वहाँ freeze हो गई. That's how they form over time. It's not like that. That's what, so these beautiful nature examples are being used. In fact, even a gardening example is being used, and we mustn't uproot an idea जड़ से. शुरू हुआ है, let it just grow. So that is what is important. That's also a part of mystery. So trust the process of life. Again, the word trust is coming in, even in mystery. Yes, let's talk about mulling.
Mulling on the page is an artless art form. It is fooling around. It is doodling. It is the way that ideas slowly take shape and form until they are ready to help us see the light. All too often, we try to push, pull, outline, and control our ideas instead of letting them grow organically. The creative process is a process of surrender, not control.
So again, in creativity, today is also about manifesting. It's all about surrendering. But usually every day is about surrender. So even if the creative process is going on, don't control it. Let it flow. Let it flow. When you control it, you'll be in a limited space of mind. So let your creativity unfold.
Mystery is at the heart of creativity, that and surprise. All too often, when we say we want to be creative, we mean that we want to be able to be productive. Now, to be creative is to be productive, but by cooperating with the creative process, not forcing it. As creative channels, we need to trust the darkness. We need to learn to gently mull instead of churning away like a little engine on a straight ahead path. This mulling on the page can be very threatening. I'll never get any real ideas this way, we fret. Hatching an idea is a lot like baking bread. An idea needs to rise. If you poke at it too much at the beginning, if you keep checking on it, it will never rise. A loaf of bread or a cake baking must stay for a good long time in the darkness and safety of the oven. Open that oven too soon and the bread collapses, or the oven, or the cake gets a hole in its middle because all the steam has rushed out of it. Creativity requires a respectful reticence. The truth is that this is how to raise the best ideas. Let them grow in dark and mystery. Let them form on the roof of our consciousness. Let them hit the page in droplets. Trusting this slow and seemingly random drip, we will be startled one day by the flash of, oh, that's it.
So very important for us to trust the process of life, give it the right time to work on, give the creativity very important time for it to keep generating and growing. Otherwise, what's going to happen? We're going to be spoiling the entire game in the middle of it. Play to the last, play it beautifully, trust the process of life, and trust that the truth is going to be raising the best of ideas. Albert Einstein says a very beautiful thing. He says, the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. Mysterious is beautiful. Why? There's so much mystery attached. You don't know what's going to come now. Very exciting. Theodore Rothke says, what shakes the eye but the invisible. So that's what is we are trying to understand what we can't see. We're trying to create something. So creativity requires a respectful reticence. Let's respect it. Let's respect the timeline. Let's know that we are getting aware. Our consciousness is increasing, and whatever is happening, basically trust the process. So trust again. Now, when is the imagination at play? Let's read about it.
The imagination at play. When we think about creativity, it is all too easy to think art with a capital A. For our purposes, capital A art is a scarlet letter branding us as doomed. In order to nurture our creativity, we require a sense of festivity, even humor. Art, that's somebody my sister used to date. We are an ambitious society, and it is often difficult for us to cultivate forms of creativity that do not directly serve us and our career goals. Recovery urges our re examining definitions of creativity and expanding them to include what in the past we called hobbies. The experience of creative living argues that hobbies are in fact essential to the joyful life. Then, too, there is the hidden benefit that they are also creatively useful. Many hobbies involve a form of artist brain mulling that leads to enormous creative breakthroughs. When I have screenwriting students stuck at the midpoint of Act 2, I ask them to please go do their household mending. They usually bark, offended by such a mundane task, but sewing has a nice way of mending up plots. Gardening is another hobby I often assign to creativity students. When someone is panicked halfway across the bridge into a new life, repotting plants into larger and better containers quite literally grounds that person and gives him or her a sense of expansion. Spiritual benefits accompany the practice of a hobby. There is a release into humility that comes from doing something by rote. As we serve our hobby, we are freed from our ego's demands and allowed the experience of merging with the greater source. This conscious contact frequently affords us the perspectives needed to solve vexing personal or creative conundrums. It is a paradox of creative recovery that we must get serious about taking ourselves lightly. We must work at learning to play. Creativity must be freed from the narrow parameters of capital A art and recognized as having much broader play. That word again. As we work with our morning pages and artist dates, many forgotten samplings of our own creativity may come to mind.
So how many other people have gone actually for the artist date or have written the morning pages? We are realizing the spirituality has increased because you're doing some hobby and you're getting immersed in it, and then all of a sudden something is getting released, some trapped energy, something where, oh my god, this is a eureka moment. Some breakthroughs have come, and this is happening only in the artistic date or in your morning pages. Examples are, so they're saying, I had forgotten all about those paintings I did in high school. I loved painting those flats in drama tech. So people are remembering what was forgotten. Second, I suddenly remembered I played Antigone. Who could forget her? I don't know if I was any good, but I remember I loved it. Third, I'd forgotten all about the skits I wrote when I was 10. I set them all to Ravel's bowlers, no matter what they were about. I made my brothers and sisters swoon about the living room. So Ravel's Bolero was also a very beautiful set class, and somebody's written plays and skits at a very young age and is involving his or her friends and siblings, and is in the living room and you're creating drama. People forgot about that. They were so creative as a child. They would make tents and they would just do around. Then somebody saying, I should tap dance. I know you can't believe it now, but I was something. So people have danced, people have played house, tent, whatever, and they were all creativity which was unleashing even at that young age. So sometimes these artistic dates and these morning musings are making us dig back into them. So J.P. Huxton was a painter. He said, "For me, a painting is like a story. which stimulates the imagination and draws the mind into a place filled with expectation, excitement, wonder, and pleasure. So, very important to understand that you are the storyteller, you are the story writer. What are you stimulating? What are you imagining? What are you understanding? Where is your mind? If that is the case, then you will be able to generate much, much more in your life. So yes, let's read further.
As we write, digging ourselves out of denial, our memories, dreams, and creative plans all move to the surface. We discover anew that we are creative beings. The impulse cooks in us all, simmering along all the time, without our knowledge, without our encouragement, even without our approval. It moves beneath the surface of our lives, showing in bright flashes, like a penny, in our stream of thought, like new grass under snow. We are intended to create. We refurbish a dowdy kitchen, tie bows on a holiday cat, experiment with a better soup. The same child who brewed perfume from a dab of this and a dash of that, half dish soap and part cinnamon, grows up to buy potpourri and to boil a spice pot that says Christmas. As
A lot of
Gray,
you will not know about these customs and rituals which the Western in country adopts. That's all right. So they are talking about their cats, which a lot of Westerners have. Indians don't have much. They're talking about the experiments with soups because it's their culture is all about the. They're talking about root perfume. So it's okay. We can talk about our experiences. It doesn't matter what. Just see the creativity that is being unleashed. You whether you understand, whether you don't understand, just understand that something creative is being spoken to about us all about it. And now let's talk about. Yeah, let's continue. Yes, please.
as gray, as controlled, as dreamless as we may strive to be, the fire of our dreams will not stay buried. The embers are always there, stirring in our frozen souls like winter leaves. They won't go away. They are sneaky. We make a crazy doodle in a boring meeting. We post a silly card on our office board. We nickname the boss something wicked. Plant twice as many flowers as we need. Restive in our lives, we earn for more. We wish. We chafe. We sing in the car, slam down the phone, make lists, clear closets, sort through shelves. We want to do something, but we think it needs to be the right something, by which we mean something important. We are what's important, and that something that we do can be something festive but small. Dead plants go, mismatched socks bite the dust. We are stung by loss, bitten by hope. Working with our morning pages, a new and gaudy life takes form. Who bought that azalea? Why the sudden taste for pink? Is this picture you've tacked up a you're going toward? Your shoes feel worn. You throw them out. There's a garage sale coming and you are playing host. You buy a first edition, splurge on new sheets. A friend worries once too often about what's come over you, and you take your first vacation in years. The clock is ticking, and you're hearing the beat. You stop by a museum shop, sign your name on a scuba diving sheet, and commit yourself to Saturday mornings in the deep end. You're either losing your mind or gaining your soul. Life is meant to be an artist date. That's why we were created.
Very beautifully. Life is what it is, right? We are creating it. It's like an artistic date. All time you can create, all time you can find something beautiful, whatever you are. So there's so many examples been given, but these examples are not very, they're kind of alien to us. But please understand, good or bad, as long as we're creating, it's beautiful. And as when we're creating, we can clear the blockages. Even in the first bit, they talked about positive affirmations. So even if you're losing your being for some time, you know you're creating something. And you know your universe has your back, life has your back. The minute our jargon changes in life, magic start unfolding. That's the entire sense of life. We trust the process of life, right? Martin Buber says, play is exaltation of the impossible. So please, let's just play. Let's have fun. Let's live our life. You know, let's be the children. Have you seen now the energy in little children? How wonderful it is. It's full of life. When you are in their energy, it becomes infectious. You will start giggling and laughing, and you know, you'll be having a good time. The best time to detox is actually being with the children who are really naughty. Become one amongst them, and you really realize that time your artistic date or your creativity is at its peak. So it's very beautiful to create something like this. Now let's read the section on escape velocity.
My friend Michelle has a theory born of long and entangled romantic experience. In a nutshell, it goes, when you're going to leave them, they know. The same theory applies to creative recovery. It occurs when you reach what Michelle calls escape velocity. As she puts it, there's this time for blast off, like a NASA space launch, and you're heading for it when wham, you draw to you and test. The test? Yeah, the test. It's like when you're all set to marry the nice guy, the one who treats you right, and Mr. Poison gets wind of it and phones you up. Ah, the whole trick is to evade the test. We all draw to us the one test that's our total nemesis. A lawyer by trade and a writer by avocation and temperament, Michelle is fond of conspiracy theories, which she lays out in sinister detail. Think of it. You're all set to go to the coast on an important business trip, and your husband suddenly needs you, capital N, for no reason. You're all set to leave the bad job, and the boss from hell suddenly gives you your first raise in 5 years. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Listening to Michelle talk, it was clear that her years as a trial attorney stood her in good stead as a creative person. She, at least, was no longer fooled. But is it really so sinister as she implied? Do we really draw to us a test? I thought about everything Michelle had told me, and I concluded that the answer was yes. I thought of all the times I'd been fooled. There was the agent who managed to undo done deals but apologized so prettily. There was the editor who asked for rewrite upon rewrite until gruel was all that remained, but who always said I wrote brilliantly and was her brightest star. A little flattery can go a long way toward deterring our escape velocity. So can a little cash. More sinister than either is the impact a well placed doubt can have, particularly a for your own good, just wanting to make sure you've thought about this doubt, voiced by one of our nearest and dearest. As recovering creatives, many of us find that every time our career heats up, we reach for our nearest wet blanket. We blurt out our enthusiasm to our most skeptical friend. In fact, we call him up. If we don't, he calls us. This is the test.
Okay, quickly. So you're mentioning that you need to know the meaning of sinister. So sin is something that you do wrong, and sinister is a feeling of knowing that something wrong is going to happen. So that's what they're talking about. More sinister than either is the impact a well-placed doubt can have. So if you're doubting on your own intentions, then that's a bigger thing than sin. It's like the feeling is just not going to go away. So for your own good, start trusting the process of life. For your own good, you can't doubt. There should be no question of doubt. If there is a doubt, then you have to say, no, this is okay. This is your near and dearest ones, your loved ones will come up and they will try and say, okay, this is not where it is going. Get one thing very clear. A little flat tree can take you everywhere. So can a little cash take you everywhere. So just move on, compliment them for their awareness, for raising your consciousness, and just say, let's do it together. And I know we can do it. It's always nice to not get, you know, detract with people saying something to you. Don't have any sinister feelings. Do not have any doubt, and just follow your path because that's what you're meant to follow. Yes, you can continue.
Our artist is a child, an inner youngster, and when he or she is scared, mommy is what's called for. Unfortunately, many of us have wet blanket mommies and a whole army of wet blanket surrogate mommies, those friends who have our second, third, and fourth thoughts for us. The trick is not to let them be that way. How? Zip the lip, button up, keep a lid on it. Don't give away the gold. Always remember the first rule of magic is self containment. You must hold your intention within yourself, stoking it with power. Only then will you be able to manifest what you desire.
So I hope you're clear. Today is a day when you're going to be manifesting what you desire, right? And today is the day you're being told that you must hold your intention within yourself, stoking it with power. So आपका जो intention है, संकल्प है जो आपको manifest करना है, hold it within you, give it power, and manifest by writing it down and surrendering under your bed. Like, so what you're doing is, in a way, it's an act of surrender because you're manifesting, doing it all and keeping it there, and you're letting it grow. So you have to keep stoking it with power. That's what we're doing. We're giving power to our dreams every single day by creatively visualizing them, and that's why they become true so often. So there are three of you who were telling me, हम जो हर न्यू मून पे लिखते हैं वो फुल मून तक तो हो ही जाता है, कैसे होता है पता नहीं. That's because probably you're giving a lot of power to it. You're really genuinely doing a creative visualization. So more power to you. So don't get scared with your power. Now, if you get scared with your power, you lose your power. So please give your power more credit, more acknowledgement, more thank yous. कि आप इतने powerful हो कि whatever you're writing comes true. So please, that's how we are in this world. Now, I'm just going to give you an assignment today. So now I'll just read the little bit. In order to achieve escape velocity, we must learn to keep our own counsel, to move silently among doubters, to voice our plan only amongst our allies, and to name our allies accurately. So अगर मैं एक नेगेटिव एटमोसफेयर में अपने आइडियाज बता रही हूँ, वो तो डाउन प्ले करेंगे ना, मुझे तुम्हारे बस का नहीं है, सोसाइटी कंड्यूसिव नहीं है, ऐसा है वैसा है. बट इफ आई गिव माय आइडियाज इन फ्रंट ऑफ पीपल हु आर मोटिवेटिंग मी, this is my plan, they're like, yeah, just go for it, gut feeling and देखो, go for it. So see your allies now, start moving with them, and learn to counsel yourself, learn to know that the universe has my back, I am guided. And please, between doubters, na, ekdam silent, just zip up. There's no need to talk so much in front of them because knowing that they will bring us down. So, and all kinds of people are there in the world. Even the doubters are important, and so important are the allies. So please be careful. Today, what's our task? In a way, let's make a list of those friends who support me. हम सबको पता है कौन सी फैमिली कौन से फ्रेंड्स सपोर्ट करते हैं. एक और लिस्ट बनाइए, फ्रेंड्स हु डोंट सपोर्ट यू, लाइक बिल्कुल भी नहीं. Now name your WBs for what they are: wet blankets. Wrap yourself in something else, dry ones, fluffy heated towels. Do not indulge or tolerate anyone who throws cold water in your direction. Forget good intentions. Forget they didn't mean it. Remember to count your blessings and your toes. Escape velocity requires a sword of steely intention and a shield of self-determination. What does this mean? अगर कोई ठंडा पानी डाल रहा है आपके ऊपर, what do? Move away. Don't tolerate it. कोई आपके ऊपर wet blanket डाल रहा है, obviously you're going to be freezing and dying. So just move away. So, and stop this fact कि उसका मतलब नहीं था पर उसने ये बोल दिया. Simple अपनी blessings count करनी है and just keep moving. Every day move in the direction of your dreams. चाहे इतना सा इंच किया है, कुछ effort किया है. कई बार हम ड्रीम लिख कर रख देते हैं. आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव हैड ड्रीम जर्नल्स. 5-7 साल पहले लिख कर रख दिया एंड बाद में अरे ये भी हो गया, अरे ये भी हो गया, अरे ये भी हो गया, क्योंकि इंटेंशन उस समय थी. अब हम क्या हो रहे हैं, अवेयर हो रहे हैं. अब हम उस पर मैनिफेस्ट करें तो अब जल्दी फास्टर एक्सीलरेशन हो गया. So this is what is happening. So please, please, please. Now they're concluding by saying that for these wet blankets, for these people who are going to be a little cold towards us, they will try to get you. Don't forget that. Warns Michelle. Set your goals and set your boundaries. I would add, set your sights and don't let the ogre get looms on the horizon deflect your flight. Simply don't let them push you away from your dreams. If you have dreams and you've not achieved them and you want to achieve them, please go in that direction. I've had this one dream of one business when I was, since I think 14, 15, I would say, maybe 18, I was very clear, 21, I was super clear. But yeah, I was not in the industry, so it just became a dream. I know I'm going to move now progressively in that zone because this artist way has given me the confidence. And okay, these are my goals which are set. These are my boundaries which are set. And I will not discuss my idea with people who will bring them down. And that does not include anyone outsiders. For me, it's even my dad. Well, he's trying to be cautious for me. So I'm not saying he's my wet blanket, but yes, he's a person that I don't want to talk in my ideas because I know I will not get encouragement. And initially, you want encouragement. Imagine small little plant is just you're just sowing it in, and you're not giving it any kind of energy, no water, no nurturing. How will that plant grow? It'll wither and die away. So please get your get your sights very, very, very clear. Mitu, I will ask you to read the conclusion as well. So meanwhile, I'll take them to the task. So for the task, these are going to come to you in that little flyer which comes every week. Plus, you understand them and write down your any resistance, angers, and fears you have about going on from here. We all have them. So अभी भी हमारे पास अगर blockages हैं, कोई resistance है, कोई डोसा है, कोई डर है, please write them down. It's important to accept. We talked about acceptance, right? In Eckhart Tolle's book. So we have to accept it. So for that, writing down is important. Number 2. And don't think you're expanding on it by writing. अपने fears भी डर के आगे जीते, fears को भी address करना पड़ता है. You can't let them be lurking in your body. Number 2, take a look at your current areas of procrastination. What are the payoffs in your waiting? Locate the hidden fears, do a list on paper. कुछ चीजें हैं जो आप टाल मटोल कर रहे हैं, and now टाल मटोल करने के लिए क्या मिला आपको? What are the payoffs? So क्या डर है? उसके सामने just address it, do it. And again, writing gives them a lot of power. Mentally, we have so many thoughts, 86,400 thoughts a day. So you can't really remember it all, but on a paper, you're putting it in ink. Very important. Number 3, sneak a peek at week 1. Core negative beliefs. See page 30 to 31. Laugh. Yes, the nasty critters are still there. Note your progress. Read yourself the affirmations on page 36, 37. Write some affirmations about your controlled creativity as you end this course. So I'm not saying you go back and read all of that, but we have, if you look at your journaling where you've done, we had set in ink our core negative beliefs. See them, analyze them. हंस लो यार उसमें अरे ये तो खत्म हो गया अरे मैं तो यहाँ पर this is the journey I'm done. Truly, if you've done the journey, you will know that there has been progress. And your affirmations are yours. What you want to create, you have written them down. Read them again. You don't have to be dependent upon, Julia Cameron's affirmations. You know you're equipped to write your own affirmations. 4, mend any mending. If you have any mending to be done about yourself, कि मुझे इसकी ज़रूरत है, उसको mend करो, उसको work करो, work on it. Number 5, repot any pinched and languishing plants. It's a beautiful therapy जो आपके withering plants होते हैं जो you just repot them, just give them new life because that's what is a symbolism of you giving yourself a new life. Number 6, select a good jar. A what? A jar, a box, a vase or container. Something to put your fears, your resentments, your hopes, your dreams, your worries into. Use your God jar. Start with your fear list from task 1 above. When worried, remind yourself it's in the jar. God's got it. Then take the next action. So now what's happening is you're doing physically you're working. मुझे डर आया तो मैंने उस डर में लिख दिया कि मुझे डर है, ना पुट द गॉड्स jar. अरे उसने संभाल लिया. This is just a physical. अभी हम माइंड में करें ना कि अरे जो होगा let it go, all is well, you know, you've got it, and you can't start telling yourself this too shall pass. Fine, but now what you're being told to do is another therapy. एक God jar बना लो, उसमें सब डाल दो जो भी problems, and now just see what happens. Now check how. Honestly, what would you most like to create? Open-minded. What oddball paths would you dare to try? Willing, what appearances are you willing to shed to pursue your dream? So अगर सपने पूरे करने हैं कुछ तो ड्रॉप करना पड़ेगा. कुछ चीजें तो है जो आपकी रुकावट आ रही हैं. You have to drop them out. You have to be more open. You have to be more receptive. You have to be more adventurous and willing to try something which, you know, it does have its pros and cons. But go for it. Number 9. List 5 people you can talk to about your dreams and with whom you feel supported to dream, and then plan. So remember, in this journey, we spoke about people who inspire us. So choose the 5 people that, you know, they will, when I talk about my dream, they will support me. And they don't have to be people that you really, really are besties with. Just that if somebody is there in your life, you know him or her, and you think that, okay, this person is the person I want to speak to. Go for it. Go with your gut instinct. Number 10, reread this book. So I'm not asking you to reread the book, but this is what I have done, right? With you, all of you, I've reread the book. Share it with a friend. Remember that miracle is one artist sharing with another. Trust God, trust yourself. I will just say one thing. You have done this book. You've had an advantage. You've enjoyed it. You can go through your own notes. You can go through the own flyers and see if something is there for you in the book. And it's always nice to share what you've learned. It's always like, you know, when I was reading, I was very proud of Naveen Ji yesterday. I was seeing his Facebook post. You know, he's championed the cause of changing the world of education in his state. And I was like, wow. ऐसे लोग भी हैं यार जो education को बदलना चाह रहे हैं. All of us want education to change. So you know what? He realized that there needs a change. He shared his ideas and he did it. So all of us are miracle makers. We should take inspiration from each other that we are there and we can change. We trust the process of life. We trust God, but we trust firstly in ourselves. So if he didn't have the trust in himself, you'd think he could have come up and the percentage of students just go up to the next level. Why? Somebody has to be the change, right? So let's be the change. And for this, I mean, I was just wondering if in the world of college and schools, these beautiful, simple books could be intertwined in the curriculum. If you're telling a new college, you know, batchmate or a new student, you know, boss, you are a magician. Read this book, intertwine magic in the curriculum. How would life change? So remember, sharing your knowledge is very beautiful. And remember that knowledge you're sharing with one person, and if you're putting it, him or her in good sangati, imagine the life that he or she has had because of you. So be the channel for love and light. Trust God, trust yourself. And with this, Julia Cameron wishes each one of us good luck, and she says, God bless you. So yes, the book has come to an end and we will be further reading it more, but check-ins are there. These check-ins are going to come to you again as part of your assignment. You're doing them amazing. The same check-ins are happening every day, so I'm not going to read them. But as a recovering creative, you now have put many hours into your recovery over these 3 months, changing rapidly as you grew. For your recovery to continue, you require a commitment to further creative plans. You're definitely right. If you have to continue in your journey of some dreams, you have to recover, you have to continue. So you may have gone behind, backtrack, but you can push yourself again. And that needs a recovery and that needs a commitment. So, one request, if you have some dreams and you think in this Sangha, some people can be your Sangha Mitras and you want them to be your dream partners, bring them on. Ask them that, is it okay? We can have accountability and I will need that push. Believe me, you will be able to go in the next level. Why? Because you're resonating at a similar frequency. The contract on the following page will help us accomplish them. So when we began this book, we wrote a contract for ourselves, right? Now let's talk about the creativity contract. Let's turn the page, sir. So the creativity contract is beautiful. So I'm going to use my name and see and my examples in life. My name is Prachi Agarwal. I'm a recovering creative person. To further my growth and my joy, I now commit myself to the following self-nurturing plans. Morning pages have been an important part of my self nurturing discovery. I, Prachi, hereby commit myself to continuing to work with them for the next 90 days. So remember one thing, do not stop the journey of your morning pages. I'm telling you, morning pages for everyone are brilliant. In fact, if you so yesterday in the unified journey, we were told that the minute you wake up, this book is by your bedside. Just immediately write what did you dream if you dreamt, because some people the dreams are the way your connections with your high self is coming into. Write every single thing down, every single thing down. So please, very important for us to continue this journey, and we've been asked a commitment for 3 months. Next, artist dates have been integral to my growth in self love and my deepening joy in living. I, Prachi, am willing to commit to another 90 days of weekly artist date for self care. Very important for us to self care. If we don't love ourselves, life can't be beautiful. So, if anybody makes a radical change to somebody else's life, it's because he or she has loved him or her, or has found that they care and they have found something substantial, and that substantial is something they want to introduce in other people's life. So when I read this again, my mind comes back to Naveen ji. He must have found something in his life, that okay, this is something. He must have had that gut feeling, "Kyare, I will do it." And look, he could do it. So we can all do whatever we want. And when we're doing something for somebody else, then it's even more beautiful, because we are becoming more whole, more complete, because that time we become unconditional givers. So be the unconditional givers. But for that, first give love to yourself, nurture yourself with a lot of love and care, because that's what we all know and need. In the course of following the artist's way and healing my artist within, I have discovered that I have a number of creative interests. While I hope to develop many of them, my specific commitment for the next 90 days is to allow myself to more fully explore health. So, like, this is what I'm given goal, right? So, well, I know there are a lot of creative interests in me. What is it that I feel I need to get into? So, everything can be creative. What are you creating? What are you creating for yourself? What are you creating for the others? You can create curriculums, you can create procedures, you can create processes, you can create a simple something, a list. So please see what do you want to explore in the next few time. All of us are really, really blessed. When people say this, you know everything, you do everything. No, all of us know everything. What have we cultivated depends upon us. The next part of the creativity contract is my concrete commitment to a plan of action is a critical part of nurturing my artist. For the next 90 days, my planned self nurturing creative action plan is to do what I believe in the journey of health. For example, that's my goal. What is your self nurturing creative plan? What is it? What do you want to get into? Whatever you've been stalling, now create a commitment. Yeah. This is what I've chosen. This is what I will be on the path. And अपना commitment खुद कर लो, and abiding by it is the best. दूसरे के साथ you can break a promise, अपने के साथ you can break a promise, but become a little. That's why the contract is coming in place, because we break these contracts. I have chosen Dash as my creative colleague and Dash as my creative backup. I am committed to a weekly phone check-in. So why did I use Dash? Because I haven't identified which two people do I want to, make as my creative colleagues, and who will be my backup. Sometimes people in the same zone are also like, two weaklings together. When they come, they become strong. Why? So today, if I'm weak in some aspect, but I really want to do something, I probably find something with my similar vibes. Somebody who understands and we say, okay, let's do it. Okay, ho gaya. So create your backup plan. Accountability is very important. Why do you think we have the Sangha? Why do we think we have the group scores? Why? Because accountability है ना एक दूसरे के लिए. नहीं तो कोई कुछ भी कर रहा है, कोई कुछ भी कर रहा है. I'm not sure how many calls have happened this time with the catalyst. And in fact, this was something I will want to know, because initially I saw a lot of group call pictures happening. Then somewhere it faltered. Did it falter because we stopped showing the scores on screen? Is that a motivation? Please let me know, because less calls, right? And these calls are important. They're very important. Unfortunately, the course is coming to an end, but at least I can learn from them. And if as a mentor or if as a coach, I need to push them, I would. Because last batch, they were happening. The bonding was amazing. This batch, I see less of it. So I think maybe we can learn something from it. So weekly phone check-in is very important. I'm not saying we should do calls all the time, but if we have each other's back, do it. I mean, I would request all of you, you have the groups, don't dissolve them just because the course is coming to an end. If you can sustain them, if people may not embark on the third batch, doesn't matter. At least check on to each other. Keep, I hope you're not lost. Have each other's back. I have made the above commitments and will begin my new commitment on. Give yourself a defined date. Until you put the plan in action and give a defined date, you will not be able to take it into action. So we need a definite plan, signature, and date. So, Neetu, can you please read the epilogue for all of us? Now, the epilogue will take a little while. Is it okay that we today finish the book and not have a meditation? I mean, a heart thought I'm hoping for us to read. Otherwise, it will come as part of your assignment. Is that okay with everyone? Can I have a thumbs up? Neetu, meanwhile, you can start reading.
The Artist's Way. In ending this book, I yearned for a final flourish, some last fillip of the imagination that would sign the book. This was a small and harmless conceit, I felt, until I remembered the number of times I have enjoyed a painting and been distracted by the outsized artistic signature of its maker. So, no final flourishes here. The truth is that this book should probably end with an image from another book, as I recall it, and this may be my imagination and not my memory at work. An early edition of Thomas Merton's Seven Story Mountain featured a mountain on its book jacket, the Seven Story Mountain, no doubt. Maybe it did and maybe it didn't. I read the book many years ago, a precocious 12-year-old. What I conjure now is a mountain of Himalayan proportions with a path winding upward to its height. That path, a spiral path, is how I think of the artist's way. As we pursue climbing it, we circle back on the same views over and over at slightly different altitudes. I've been here before, we think, hitting a spell of drought, and in a sense, we have been. The road is never straight. Growth is a spiral process, doubling back on itself, reassessing and regrouping. As artists, our progress is often dodged by rough terrain or storms. A fog may obscure the distance we have covered or the progress we have made toward our goal. While the occasional dazzling vista may graze us, it is really best to proceed a step at a time, focusing on the path beneath our feet as much as the heights still before us. The artist's way is a spiritual journey, a pilgrimage home to the self. Like all great journeys, it entails dangers of the trail, some of which I have tried to enumerate in this book. Like all pilgrims, those of us on the artist's way will, will often be graced by fellow travelers and invisible companions. What I call my marching orders, others may sense in themselves as a still, small voice, or even more simply, a hunch. The point is that you will hear something if you listen for it. Keep your soul cocked for guidance.
Very important to understand that our journey is a spiritual one, right? Now, the artist way has actually mentored us, taken us deeper, deeper, deeper. And it's like a pilgrimage. You're finding your own strengths, your own excitements, your own weaknesses, and you're elaborating on your good things. And you're like, okay, this is forgotten. Let me do it. And you have fellow travelers, you have invisible companions, you have visible Sangamitras. There's so much happening. Now, the only thing is to march ahead and simply follow your gut instinct, your highest self command, and just know that you're guided. Let's turn the page.
When Mark Bryan began cornering me into writing this book, he had just seen a Chinese film about Tibet called The Horse Thief. It was an indelible film for him, a classic of the Beijing school. a film we have since searched for in Chinese video stores and film archives to no avail. Mark told me about the film's central image, another mountain, a prayerful journey up that mountain on bended knee, step, lie prostrate, stand, and straighten. Another step, lie prostrate. In the film, this journey was the reparation that a thief and his wife had to make for damaging their society by dishonoring themselves through thievery. I had wondered since then if the mountain that I see when thinking of the artist way isn't another mountain best climbed in the spirit of reparation, not to others, but to ourselves.
Very important to understand that we are the creators, directors, writers of our life and our movies. So, what are we creating? Paul Gardner says a painting is never finished, it simply stops in interesting places. So, let's create our life, let's create our beautiful world, and let's go for it. Now, the words for this is I wish I could take language and fold it like cool, moist rags. I would lay words on your forehead. I would wrap words on your wrists. There, there, my words would say, or something better. I would ask them to murmur, hush, and shh, it's all right. I would ask them to hold you all night. I wish I could take language and daub and soothe and cool, where fever blisters and burns, where fever turns yourself against you. I wish I could take language and heal the words. They were the wounds you had no names for. That's written by JC. Very profound, very deep, very beautiful. So let's have the artist's wake of questions and answers now. The introduction is although creative recovery is a highly individual process, there are certain recurrent themes and questions that I have encountered over and over in my teaching, in the hopes of answering at least some of your questions directly. I include the most commonly asked questions and answers here. So for those of us who could not through the journey for XYZ reasons, it doesn't matter. Gone is gone. We can't go over it. But let's ponder over the questions and answers. Maybe it'll give us an answer. So the question asked to Julia Cameron was, is true creativity the possession of a relatively small percentage of the population? Meetu, can you please read the answers?
No, absolutely not. We are all creative. Creativity is a natural life force that all can experience in one form or another. Just as blood is part of our physical body and is nothing we must invent, creativity is part of us, and we each can tap into the greater creative energies of the universe and pull from that vast, powerful spiritual wellspring to amplify our own individual creativity. As a culture, we tend to define creativity too narrowly and to think of it in elitist terms as something belonging to a small chosen tribe of real artists. But in reality, everything we do requires making creative choices, although we seldom recognize that fact. The ways in which we dress, set up our homes, do our jobs, the movies we see, and even the people we involve ourselves with, these all are expressions of our creativity. It is our erroneous beliefs about creativity, our cultural mythology about artists. All artists are broke, crazy, promiscuous, self centered, single, or they have trust funds that encourage us to leave our dreams unfulfilled. These myths most often involve matters of money, time, and other people's agendas for us. As we clear these blocks away, we can become more creative.
Very simply, just the way blood flows in us, so does creativity. Because we are made by the creator and we are the creator. We are his reflection. So all of us are creating. Now, when we are creating, and there are people who will say, ये possible नहीं है, संभव नहीं है, ऐसा नहीं है, ये अच्छे ख्याली पुलाव है, this is only possible in dreams, it's not going to happen, it's not going to... Just chuck that up. If you just chuck it completely, if you have your reality which says, this is my creative dream, or this is choice that I really would want to pursue if possible, that's your clue. That's your cue. That just go for it. Forget the myths, forget them, just shove them away and just clear those blocks and just say, I can do it. Attempt to karo, kisne mana kiya? Go for it. So, can I expect dramatic results to begin occurring right away?
The answer is both yes and no. While dramatic changes will occur within the 12-week course, much more dramatic changes occur when artists' way tools become life tools. The shift over a 2 to 3 year period can feel like a downright miracle. Block filmmakers who make one short film, then a second, and then a feature. Blocked writers who began with essays, reviews, and articles, moving into whole books and plays. If the basic tools of morning pages and the artist date are kept carefully in place, you can expect to experience large life shifts.
So very important for us to say that anything can be dramatically beginning at this point. It depends upon us, what have we perceived. क्या वो एक लाइन है जो मुझे हिट कर गई और मैं उसको कंटिन्यू करती हूँ? क्या है वो मेरे असाइनमेंट में, टास्क में जो मैंने करा है, जिससे मुझे इमीडिएट कुछ अटेंशन मिल गई एंड आई वांट टू जस्ट डू इट? क्या है जो ब्रेक थ्रू आया है, मिरेकल आया, सबके लिए अलग होगा. ब्लॉक सबके लिए होते हैं, अनब्लॉक भी सब होते हैं. हम क्या बेसिक टूल्स मॉर्निंग पेज के हैव दे हेल्प्ड अस? Please keep them in place, because if they're helping you or if they haven't helped you, they will help you. Trust again. Now, the next question is, what factors keep people from being creative? Very important question.
Conditioning. Family, friends, and educators may discourage us from pursuing an artist's career. There is the mythology that artists are somehow different, and this mythology of difference inspires fear. If we have negative perceptions about what an artist is, we will feel less inclined to do the diligent work necessary to become one. On a societal level, blocked creative energy manifests itself as self destructive behavior. Many people who are engaged in self defeating behaviors, such as addicts of alcohol, drugs, sex, or work, are really in the hands of this shadow side of the creative force. As we become more creative, these negative expressions of the creative force often abate.
Now, again, there are some of you who tell me, आप lucky हो या आपकी family support करती है, हमारी family support नहीं करती. So are you saying that you have said an affirmation? Unknowingly आपने affirm किया दोबारा? Family support नहीं करती थी, अब करती है. हम affirmations में बात कर सकते हैं, believe कर सकते हैं, और हम conditioning को change कर सकते हैं. एक conditioning society में क्या है? Compromise तो करना पड़ता है. Why? Why should there be a compromise? Mythology कुछ बोलेगी, लोक समाज कुछ बोलेगा. Let people say. लोग का तो काम है कहना. They will keep saying. They will keep saying. Why should you let that negative perceptions get on to you? Why should you not be allowed to do what you want? Simple stuff like I have given the example before, maybe, and I'm going to quote again. My dad's best friend has 3 sons. We were 3 girls and 3 sons, same age. Absolutely, all of us are. So Gaurav and me, and a friend of mine, he and me at the same age. We grew up together, childhood friends. He grew up different than his both brothers. दिख रहा था कि वो different हो रहा है. But his father allowed him to pursue his dream of being into fashion. उस जमाने में nobody was really allowing the sons to go into it. We did have some male designers in the country, but he was allowed. Then, as he grew in college and as he made his mark as a designer in the country, globally, he said that I am a gay and I need to have my own space. Moving out of his father's house was a big thing, but he moved out and he made his own space. He was accepted because when you talk to him, he'll say, because I told myself that I am accepted very well in society. I am whole and complete. It doesn't matter that I prefer men over women. And he says, I told everyone that, even from a Banya Madu family, I am a fabulous designer and people encourage me. So he says, my thing changed. Yes, Gaurav Gupta. He says, my thing changed, Praj, just because I told myself. So uncle wasn't so open about it. My dad was the closest about it. So when my dad was asked this question, my uncle, kya karna chahiye? He said, ki nahi yaar, apne family ke ladke to business mein jate hain. But I remember being there. He asked me, what do you think? I said, uncle, if I were him, I would have been allowed to do what I wanted to do. Just because I'm a woman, I'm allowed to be a designer, and why can't he be a designer? And that shift happened. He's like, okay, let him go. And he cracked the best college in the country, again, National College, NIFT. And he kept going up and up and up. Societal level was pressurizing him and his parents. But he told himself, he conditioned himself, ki, nahi, I'm not going to be a victim. And today, Gaurav has created a mark in the world, and I'm so proud of it. Why? Because he had that affirmation and the conviction that I can do it. And his father changed, not going by the societal pressure. So they will say, yeah, they will say whatever. Please go beyond this. Don't become in this dark shadow. This book is opening our creatives. So, it's very beautiful to know that we can all create ourselves. But Anju, why did he get the support? Because he believed in himself. If I don't believe in myself, I will never seek the support. If I say my atmosphere is amazing, conducive for my growth, it will be. As a child, I always knew that I'm going to have the best of family because I've only seen mom and nanny having the best of relations with their co-sisters and with their families. And so it is. I had the conviction, I had the known. I didn't even know something else exists. I didn't even know their politics at homes. I had no clue. And I didn't face it because I had embraced it. We are all creative. Our artistic journey is within us. Just open the doors and create it. The next question is, how does this book free people to be more creative? And that's something which you know. I mean, let's read the answer.
The primary purpose and effect of the artist way is to put people in touch with the power of their own internal creativity. The book frees people to be more creative in many different ways. First, it helps dismantle negative mythologies about artists. Second, it helps people discover their own creative force, access it, and express it more freely. Third, it provides people with an awareness about their self destructive behaviors and allows them to see more clearly what the impediments on their individual path might be. Finally, the book helps people identify and celebrate their desires and dreams and make the plans to accomplish them. It teaches people how to support and nurture themselves, as well as how to find others who will support them in fulfilling their dreams.
Again, just free yourself of shackles. बहुत हो गया, समाज सोसाइटी बहुत हो गया, बहुत कंडीशनिंग हो गई, ये नहीं वो नहीं, forget it. डिस्ट्रक्ट भी कर लिया अपने आप को, forget it. अब कंस्ट्रक्ट करना है, अब सेलिब्रेट करना है, अब आगे मूव ऑन करना है, and you have to create your life. That's as simple as that. Next question is, one of the central themes of the artist's way is the link between creativity and spirituality. How are they connected? Let's talk about it.
Creativity is a spiritual force, the force that drives the green fuse through the flower. As Dylan Thomas defined, his idea of the life force is the same urge that drives us toward creation. There is a central will to create that is part of our human heritage and potential, because creation is always an act of faith, and faith is a spiritual issue, so is creativity. As we strive for our highest selves, our spiritual selves, we cannot help but be more aware, more proactive, and more creative.
So again, creativity is born in us. Creativity is spiritual also. Please create the life that you desire. Today is a day of creating your dreams. Today is a day for creating your desires. Jo man tha, jaise man tha, please karo. Anything which you want to learn, just do it. Make yourself a plan, a time span कि मुझे इस समय ये शुरू करना है. अगर अभी नहीं possible है, महीने भर बाद, एक महीने बाद, and put that, छापो that list in front of you somewhere where you can, it's a reminder कि मुझे अब शुरू करना है, so that you're getting tuned, accustomed to it. Don't stall your dreams. So say if I'm a man who's very busy in his business life, but I want to become a golfer, at least schedule my sessions कि okay, I'm going to start them in 2 months from now. फिर अपने आप देखा जाएगा जो होगा नहीं होगा. Define your deadlines, define your connectedness, because it's very important to create that zone. Tell me about the two central exercises in the book, the morning pages and the artist state. So it's a summary. Let's understand.
The morning pages are 3 pages of stream of consciousness, longhand morning writing. You should think of them not as art, but as an active form of meditation for Westerners. In the morning pages, we declare to the world and ourselves that what we like, what we dislike, what we wish, what we hope, what we regret, and what we plan. By contrast, the artist dates are times for receptivity, planned solitary hours of pleasurable activity aimed at nurturing the creative consciousness. Used together, these tools build, in effect, a radio set. The morning pages notify and clarify. They send signals into the verdant void, and the solitude of the artist's dates allow for the answers to be received.
So they are partners, in this. So morning pages are helping us in a lot of things, and this is what is happening. So let's understand. Yes, please.
The morning page,
Yeah, please.
the morning pages and artist dates must be experienced in order to be explained. Just as reading a book about jogging is not the same as putting on your Nikes and heading out to the running track. Map is not territory, and without reference points from within your own experience, you cannot extrapolate what the morning pages and artist dates can do for you.
Very, very important to understand this, that we have to experience something. पढ़ने से नहीं होगा, experience करना पड़ता है. जिन्होंने experience नहीं किया, just too bad. They've lost 12 weeks, but I can't even say that you can do it again because one needs company to do this program, I feel, or a lot of commitment. Next question is, Artist's Way is a 12-week program that requires daily commitments. How much time do I need to devote to each day? And what can I accomplish in these 12 weeks?
It's a daily commitment of a half hour to an hour. One of the most important things we learn during the 12 weeks is to give up our ideas of perfection and to see a new perspective, to change our focus from product to process. Participants enter the program with certain unstated expectations and preconceived notions of what will happen and what they will get out of it. And often, just as in great short story, they are profoundly surprised and thrilled to discover something entirely different. Therefore, to predict what someone will learn from this course would undermine the very principle on what it was built. It is experiential, and the results are something to be discovered, not explained.
I think it's self-explanatory about this. Next question is, what can I do to overcome my self-doubts about being a good artist? And this question needs you all to read along. हमें सेल्फ डाउट होता है कि हम अच्छा आर्टिस्ट या कुछ क्रिएट करने के लिए क्या चीजें हैं, मैं उसको ओवरकम कैसे करूं? ये सबके लिए कांस्टेंट है. Let's read it.
The point is not to overcome your self-doubts about being an artist. The point is to move through your self-doubts. Many of us believe that real artists do not experience self-doubt. In truth, artists are people who have learned to live with doubt and do the work anyway. The exercises in the book will help you dismantle the hypercritical inner censor and perfectionist. You will learn that part of being fully creative means allowing for an off day. Because the artist's way focuses on process rather than product, you will learn to value your mistakes as part of your learning.
So again, we will have mistakes, we will learn from them, and mistakes are very important. We will have self-doubts, but we can always have affirmations. We must trust our creative process and we must follow it. And that's when every single day we're supposed to move through our self-doubts, not keep thinking about them. जितना सोचेंगे expand करेंगे. उसका alternate क्या है? That's what we're supposed to create. The next question is, why do artists procrastinate? And what is procrastination really about?
Artists procrastinate out of fear or because they try to wait for the right mood in order to work. The artist's way will teach you how to separate mood from productivity. It will also teach you to value a self-loving enthusiasm over mechanistic discipline.
Very nice. So what is the procrastination, this doubting, the stalling? Why is it happening? because we're not sure and we're thinking क्या करें क्या नहीं करें, but अगर हमें बहुत सारा motivation दे दिया जाए, we'll stop procrastinating. We'll just say कि अरे let's do it. So now when we have enthusiasm and that's what we can bring ourselves, we don't need outer people to do it. That's when procrastination will become an action. How can I expand my ability to drive new ideas?
Learn to miniaturize your critic, your censor. While you may not fire your critic entirely, you can learn to work around the negative voice. When we use the morning pages and the artist dates, specifically designed to put us in touch with our non-linear intuitive selves, we expand our ability to derive new ideas. As we lessen the static, the interference caused by old habits and blocks, and become clearer, more able to listen, we become more receptive to creativity and its sometimes subtle arrival in our consciousness.
Very wonderful to know that this book has kind of helped a lot of us. If we have, our critics have, we've become less critical, and even this journey has made us less critical. It made us more complimenting ourselves. It made us more fall in love with ourselves, and at least know that we can expand the truth and the niceness rather than the negativity. So that's what is this journey all about. And we then, when that journey is there, we are obviously going to have ideas as well. And the ideas that we'll have, we'll be able to follow them because now we'll not be stalling them much. The last question is, what is the most common misconception about creativity?
The most common misconception is what we would have to leave our current lives in order to pursue our dreams. It is easier for us to use our jobs, families, financial situations, time obligations, etc., as a way or ways to keep us safe from the anxiety caused by stepping out of our comfort zones into the creative process. When we allow ourselves to be thus thwarted, we deny ourselves tremendous joy. The most effective way to center, confront blocks is to form creative cluster groups in the lives we're already leading. A guide to creative clusters follows.
Thank you so much for the question answer, Meetu. So, Rahul sir, my book is a very, very old version. It's about 13 years old. Can I just see what's in the next part of the book? This is a new edition. Okay, so what is it? Okay, this is just her own thing, I think, what she's guiding. So Rahul sir, can you just click a picture of this because it's not even there in the PDF and share this as part of our assignment because I'm not sure what this is. I've never read it. Just turn the page a bit. Next one. Guidelines. Okay. All right. And the next. Oh, that's a lot. Okay. And the next. Okay. All right. In such a case, I think with the last day we would be comparatively free and we'll try and schedule this. If not, Rahul से ये वाला PDF भेज दीजिएगा ना आज अमृता के through सब लोग को. So if possible, we can study on our own and we'll plan something. Today is the day 117, I think, right? So we still have 4 days to go. We'll figure it out. Should be able to do it. Thank you so much, Rahul sir. Thank you so much, Meetu, for reading so beautifully for all of us. So does anyone have any questions or sharings about the Artist Day? And about the affirmation, मैंने भेज दी है heart thought भेज दी है, but कल हम एक बार वापस पढ़ेंगे to understand the deeper science. आज आप लिख लेना, so tomorrow we'll write the same affirmation again. दो more affirmations in case you want to write them in the artist way. So is there anything that anyone wants, any questions about this journey? Your sharings? Yes, Shivani. You have to unmute yourself.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So I have been doing the artist way regularly, and lately I found a shift in my morning pages. Earlier, I was doing a lot of raving, ranting. There was a lot of anger, but suddenly it has disappeared. Now it is more about thanking the Almighty, thanking the universe. Maybe I'm for 3 days, I was just doing a practice out of Magic Book. So the shift has just come automatically, and I'm really enjoying the shift. And suddenly there's a change. Earlier, if someone accused me, I would go on to argue with that person because the mistake was not mine. Now, knowing that the mistake is not mine, yet I'm just like, okay, fine, I'm sorry. You misunderstood or this happened, and okay, let's let it go. So this shift has, I wouldn't say it has just come in the last week.
Very nice.
And this is something I'm really enjoying. And yes, now I'm like really firm that what is harming me, what is pulling me back, I'm like, just sorry, I can't do it. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not, there is no good intention, or there is no bad vibe, but I can't take any more pulling down or anything.
Very nice.
It's just, so this I'm really enjoying.
Taking a stand for yourself is very important if you think you're on the right track. And if you think you're on the wrong track, saying a sorry is very important. So thank you for sharing, because it's very important for us to understand this shift in ourselves. So thank you for being in integrity, and thank you for respecting yourself enough to take a stand and say, no, I can't. It just isn't me. So very nice. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, my dears, Neetu and Bhuvan.
Prachi, I would like to say that Artist's Way is the most favorite book in the entire session. And I feel through morning pages, I have really let myself out on paper. And matlab, whatever I do, I have to do morning pages. It's something that I really enjoy doing. It's actually like a meditation. And even though I write like one page and I cannot even read my page whenever, if I want to,
You don't have to.
I have started writing poetry, and I have started writing small poems. I did one for Anuja also, which I shared with you. So even though I didn't know that about myself, but I really started enjoying writing. And great ideas come in the morning. Like you said today, there are times when I just write down my dreams and small vivid details I can think of. It's really magical. The change that has happened in me is that I have started seeing everything in a very positive light. So earlier it was like, okay, fine, you have to think positive, think positive. But now I feel that I really feel that I'm guided in whatever is coming across my way. So we in the past, like we have lost a couple of competitions. So we do a lot of design competitions, but we lost few big ones, and we had worked very hard for them, our entire team. But I I must confess that I did not even feel bad 1%. I said,
Wow, that's
fine. That
beautiful.
I used to feel so bad about these things and small failures or big failures. I used to really take it personally and have a lot of anger inside me. But now I'm totally different person. I feel that it's for my betterment only. Maybe something better is in store for me.
How
And
wonderful.
it's not just me. I think it resonates in our entire team. Me and my dad, we just don't, like earlier we used to think, and we used to discuss and strategize कि ये क्यों हुआ, क्या गलत हुआ. Now we are like, fine, ठीक है, हो गया, let's move on, let's do something else.
You're not
So
expanding the negative, na?
not expanding the
Very
negative.
nice, beautiful, very nice. And that's because you and your partner, which is your dad, are in unison about this. It only shifts when the couple or the partners, like here, your business partner is your dad, right? So when the partners are in sync, that's when it happens. So why, Neetu, you're having so many breakthroughs is because Bhuvan, your life partner, and dad, your business partner, and your first source are in sync in together. So that's when the miracles happen even more. So thankful to all five of you for being a part of this family and for inviting these magics in your lives. Really thankful. And
Thank
I'm
you.
glad that you found the Artist's Way beautiful, because even for me, this was like the highlight for Life Transformation Series 2. Even though I know that a lot of people could do it and could not do it, I'm okay with it. Agar char log ko bhi farak pada, I think it's worth doing the session. And somebody would have got something out of it. So yeah, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
So it's beautiful to know that it has made a difference to all of us. Yeah. So let's just keep evolving, let's keep growing, and let's keep realizing that life is all about, and those of you, or I should say those of us who've not even done 1 week and one date and one morning page, it's okay. Kuch samajh mein shayad aaya. Though this is not samajhne wala, this is more experiential. But again, there's no need to judge ourselves or others. If we haven't been able to do, we haven't been able to do. आज नहीं कल कर लेंगे. If it's meant to be, हो जाएगा. Don't be so tough on yourself कि अरे उसको इतना फायदा हुआ, उसने ये बोला, मैं तो नहीं कर पाया. It's okay. So what? It's all right. Everything is okay in this world. That's the beauty about this world. So embrace yourselves the way you are, and you guys are beautiful. Have that energy on, and just always remember that you are a miracle maker. So Mudita's writing, morning pages are really wonderful. It helps me to change a lot of my thoughts. I feel very light. I love to write morning pages every day. Thank you, Mudita, for sharing. Morning pages are indeed beautiful. And if they are done lifelong, that doesn't take time, it just says your morning starts with it. It's beautiful. And longhand likhna hai, shorthand likhna hai, scribble karna hai, depends upon you. For me, there's some days. So, one of my friends, AJ, he came over and he was looking at my book. He's like, kya hai ACP? He calls me with a fun name, in a circling jargon. क्या है ACP पे इतना सुंदर लिखा है, फिर ऐसे लिखती हो, अब ये क्या लिख रखोटे? I'm like, this is how I want it to be. ये समझ में आ रहा है क्या लिखा है? एक के ऊपर 10 बार लिखा है. As I'm saving my page, आधे पेज के ऊपर 4, 5, 6 बार I've written over. I don't know what khichdi there is. So, you should allow your instinct to guide you. There's nothing called definite rule. There's nothing called, nothing is defined. Creativity can't be defined. In fact, be limitless. Just open yourselves. So that's how we will realize that life is changing. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your energy. And now just let's close our eyes and we just go for gratitude and blessings. With the eyes closed, let's take a deep breath in. Exhale. Inhale with a lot of love and gratitude. Fill yourselves up with it. And exhale. The last time for this morning. Let's inhale. And exhale. Life is beautiful. Dear God, dear eternal source, thank you for making me as your image. Thank you for making me an artist. Thank you for making me a creator. Thank you for giving me the power of the morning pages, where I write whatever comes in my mind. The first thought, whether I can make out these thoughts or I can't, I just write them down. Thank you, dear God, for this beautiful company of my Sangha Mitras, where we've come together in this journey and read this beautiful book for 12 weeks. Thank you, dear God, for making us all channels of love, light, creation, and art. When I see love, when I see light, I can create whatever I want. The societal pressures are no longer working because I don't pressure, I only flow. And that's how it is. So with this beautiful found source of energy in me, I bow down to Mother Earth because she has played a very strong role in my being. To my life, which has been absolutely magical because it's taught me so many variations, ups and downs. And today I realize each one is so beautiful. I open my hands to the universe above, thank it for having my back. I thank all the divinities for blessing me, angels and guardians for ensuring I'm protected and I'm guided. I again fold my hands in gratitude. I rub my hands with energy. When the tingling comes, I bless my body, the backside, from up to bottom, energize it. Again, up to bottom, the front side, energize it, bless it. And now I fold my hands in gratitude and love and respect for my body, its organs, all the systems which I have, multiple body parts and functions. And most importantly, the energy, because energy is everywhere. We are one because of the energy. Dearest energy, I invoke you once more to share the love and light, feelings of abundance and wishful blessings on us all as a Sangha, on our loved ones and all beings on Mother Earth. Let there be light. Mithu and Bhuvan, Seema, Rigu, Navinji, Kripa, Asmeet, Sanya, Chandra, Raviji, Mudita, Alona, Sakshi, Rohiniji, Chami, Ankur, Anju, Gyanji, Ushaji, Mom, Shubhra, Nikita, Prashant, Radhika, Shivani, Parul, Jitendraji, Shruti, Rima. And I see Poonam, Radniji, Shelly, Siddharthan Vandana, Amit, Shalu, Born 121 for Life, Hina Jagani, Richa, Asmeet. Lots of love and light to you all. Thank you, Rahul sir, for everything, for all the love, for all the blessings, for all the morning sessions. May you rise and shine. Thank you, Ritesh sir. Thank you, Amrita. Thank you, Sanjay sir. Thank you, Shweta. God bless you all. Let's see each other tomorrow. Same time, same place. Thank you, thank you, thank you.